Bender. Oh, this could be an opening. The Bender wants to have the opening. It's Lawrence Sheffield. That is the moment. The moment of Bender.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Hearts on Sleeves podcast. It's a podcast that's all about Heart of Midlothian Football Club. It's fans and all the ups and downs we experience on the way, both on and off the pitch. Two games that we'll be talking about, and of course it's the end of a transfer window as well, so we'll talk a bit about that. One very good performance, one very poor performance. Our lead at the top of the table was cut to 3. Will it be back to 6 next time we record? Well, we'll discuss that as well. John, how are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm good actually. Obviously don't work Thursdays anymore, so I've spent the day with my mum. Had quite a nice day. Went and played badminton, and then came back and I cooked her and my girlfriend some food. So it was actually a really nice day. So I feel good. How about you?
Yes, good here, thanks. I've just actually had a bit of lurgy this week. So physically not being great, but mentally doing pretty good. I think I mentioned before, I always find the start of a new year pretty difficult for whatever reason. Last year I found it really difficult. This year though, I've been really it's been really good to have these 5k runs I'm doing. I've actually signed up to my first ever proper 5k run. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. Doing it in March. So I don't know if I want to do it for a charity or something, but if anyone has any bright ideas, I'd like to do it for a mental health charity. I know Andy's Man Club do some really great stuff, but I know there's also See Me Scotland that I used to do some volunteering for. So yes, any ideas, do put them my way, and I'll be very happy to do it for a charity. Adam, how are you doing today?
Yeah, I've been all right. Still feeling a little bit gutted about the last match, but other than that, I'm feeling quite good. I mean, I took my nephew to his second ever match for a Dundee United game, so that was quite nice.
I'm glad you took him to the Dundee United game and not the St Mirren one, and I think that's probably the best one to start on, and we can also take our reflections on the Dundee United performance. It was quite a contrast between the two performances. Now, as far as the lineup goes for the St Mirren game, first of all, let's take a look at that. There was only really two differences in the squad themselves, in the starting lineup. So for St Mirren, we had following goals. You had Steinvender, Halkett, Finlay and Milne. Then midfield, you had McEntee, Beningame, Leonard, Kizaridis. Up front, Kabori and Braga. Now, sort of the main differences there was Magnuson was playing in the Dundee United game, and of course Altina was in the Dundee United game as well. Now, and before the game begun, we were in the pub in Paisley, and we talked a bit about, I guess, that we did think initially maybe there wasn't a great deal of creativity in there, partially because Altina came out and I think we both agree he can definitely produce something from the wings. With Steinvender, you lose a bit of that, but I think we both could see what he's going for there. I think there was a big, obviously St Mirren, it's a bit of a cliche, but they've kind of got that big physical threat about them. We thought we might see a couple of the new signings, but they didn't really feature in that lineup from even on the bench. What was your initial thoughts,
I was expecting Steinbender to start. It feels like McInnes is pretty tactical with who starts at right back. Seems to depend on the opposition. So I think maybe just like St Mirren being a kind of big physical team, he goes for Steinbender. So I think he's going to keep rotating them based on who we're playing against. I guess I was hoping we'd see Mato on the bench as well, just because obviously we got to see him a kind of cameo against Dundee United. I mean, I wasn't exactly gutted, but like it would have been nice. It was a bit kind of. I suppose that we've seen McInnes ease new signings into the team quite a lot, so maybe it's going to take a little while before we see more of him. Overall, like I don't think there was any big shocks. I think most people would have predicted a fairly similar starting lineup. I think the only one that we weren't sure about was if Benny would come straight back in. So the only one that I think was a bit of a question mark was if he was going to come in, and obviously he came straight back in from the start.
Yeah, he came in for Magnuson. To me, it made sense there. I just think, really, considering there wasn't a huge amount of time between the two games, a bit of fresh legs in midfield and someone as dependable as Benny is, someone you're always happy to bring in. Yeah, I mean, we're both kind of disappointed Matto wasn't in there, and I think there's a bigger conversation, one we probably will have, about not giving our new signings minutes. Your first impressions then as the half begun, John, it didn't start off great really, did it?
Nah, not at all. And just on like the Benny and Magnuson point, I actually personally, I know what you mean about the sort of short turnover, but I think it would have been better starting Magnuson, and then if you need to bring Benny on later, you do. Like I just think his physicality would be much better against a team like St Mirren. And I think that showed as we were talking about the first sort of 20, 25 minutes. We just couldn't sort of handle the physicality. They were pressing us really high. They were right in our faces. Typical like St Mirren performance against us. They just went for everything. They won everything in the air. It was a really hard watch, to be honest. Like I don't think individually anyone played particularly terrible to begin with, apart from maybe obviously Finlay with the the mistake. But we just couldn't handle them, and it's been the same in every game we played them, bar the one at Tiny. Every away game against St Mirren's been the same, and we just haven't learned from it.
When we're watching the game, Adam, we kind of felt that even though we're being pretty much outplayed on every aspect, we still looked like we could be dangerous up front, yet didn't really provide anything of significance down there. We talked about that lack of creativity, and it really showed. I mean, St Mirren clearly knew what they were doing with the way they set up. They just read us totally for where our creativity was going to come from. Obviously, mainly from Kizaridis and Milne. And you can, if you take a look at the heat map, that's exactly what they did. You could see what they were trying to do, both within how they were attacking us and how they were defending as well. Do your thoughts on that first half? Obviously Craig Halkett sending off's a big talking point, but generally speaking, for that first half hour, your feelings roughly the same as John's, Adam?
I think it was a very poor half. I mean, we had I think one shot on target or one shot at all in the half. My main hope was, there's been some other games where we haven't started great, but then we've come back into it and had a kind of great moment and scored a goal, and the game's turned on that. I think in this game, it was a poor start, and then the red card just kind of really took away our big chance of winning it. It would have been really interesting to see what would have happened without the red card. Could we have got a goal? Could we have turned it all around? But I think that kind of left us with a mountain to climb. So it was a pretty uninspiring half all round, even before the red. And then I think, once you take Kizaridis off, in the first half, you kind of lose what creativity we did have as well.
Was Kizaridis coming off the right decision, would you say?
I don't think so. I think we needed him. I think we needed guys like him who could have created a moment. I think it's quite hard when you've only really got Braga left, who's going to maybe have a kind of moment of magic. So I think can see why he did it. I'm not convinced it was the right move.
I think it's the timing as well, though. Like he didn't need to make us sit back. Like we weren't playing well, but at no point did I really feel that under threat from St Mirren up until that point. Like they'd had maybe more chances, but it was nothing clear cut. I just think he could have given it till half time, and then if it's not working, you say fine, we'll change it. But even just after the red, he puts McEntee to right back, Steinvender into centre half, and then we're sitting with basically like a 4-2-3 effectively. With the same sort of front three. It didn't need to change it that quick, and it just, especially with the way St Mirren play, to just invite pressure on and just say to them, "We're going to sit back, hoof up all you want." Like that's their main tactic anyway. Of course, it's going to suit them.
Yeah, it is interesting the timing, John, because it happened in the 38th minute. You're kind of thinking by that point, you maybe just want to try and hold off and then shuffle things. I mean, I get it. Maybe that was part of his thinking that you want to just hold off as far as scoreline goes. But he is just such. If there's one player when you're playing shit and you think you need a player to produce something, it didn't look like it was coming from Milne. Braga was one of the few standouts from that game. As ever, he put 100% into it, and you still felt there was moments there, a couple of poor decisions, but generally speaking, he was one of the standouts. Yeah, perhaps he could have just hung fire and then just sorted out his deck of cards at half time.
Even take
But
Kabori off maybe and leave Braga up by himself. It's kind of a weird one to take someone who plays as a midfielder off and leave the two strikers. Like I kind of get his point. There's two up top, everyone else sits back, but I don't know. I didn't feel like it was necessary.
yeah,
Like, I think that's the most frustrating part. Is I actually think football-wise we're a better team. Like Adam said, as soon as we get that one chance, the game changes, and I think 100% with Kazridas on the pitch, we would have had a chance. Even whether it was before half time or maybe slightly after it. I think as well, just losing a goal late on, it's kind of like, well, if we're going to lose in that manner at the end of the game, why not just go for it first? We're the better team, have a go at them, and I think they would have sat back. I think they wouldn't have dealt with it well, but who knows?
I mean, let's sort of rewind it back to the red card. I'm gonna. I mean, I don't think there's going to be any disagreement. There's no point debating the red card. It was red, right? I take it no one's going to
Nah,
contend or
Stonewall.
argue that point.
Nothing you can
Yeah.
say about it.
Obviously, the mistake comes from Finlay. Look, he's been really good for us, but I'm just, how many? Is it like 3 red cards in about 5 games or something ridiculous like that now for us?
And 2 of them were from him causing them. But I know that obviously there's still the tackles afterwards, but 2 of them were from him messing about the back. It's the same with the goal against Hibs. It was from the third one, I think it was when Bowie scored. It came from him doing the same thing, gets the ball at the back, starts fanning about with it, and ends up losing it.
Mm.
It's a bit worrying. Like he's such a good player, but it's just there's no need for it.
It was obviously Finley's mistake that cost it, but I do think Halkett could have cleared the ball. I think Halkett struggled a little bit once he did well to win it, and then I think he could have just got rid of it straight away.
Yeah.
Agree.
I don't think he was blameless in it. I just obviously Finley set it up, but I do think Halkett didn't cover himself in Gorgie as well.
I definitely think it was what we said earlier when we were talking about the first bit when he first gets the ball. Like
Yeah,
he could quite easily just put his foot through it, even if it goes, 15 yards up the pitch, get it out of there. He just
yeah.
takes that extra touch, and that's the thing that we can't really afford to be doing at the moment is like taking those extra touches at the back, especially at the start of games. There's no need for it.
I don't know
It's
about you guys, but I'd actually rather have just gone 1-0 down and had 11
Yeah.
men
yeah.
or something.
I was about to say
I
that.
always say that. Oh yeah, 100%. If it's that early in the game, I think there
Yeah,
was one of the English games I was watching. And a guy was through and goal after like 10 minutes and he's pulled the guy down. I was like, what's the point? You've got like 80 odd minutes to go. Just let him have a chance. And who knows, Swallow could have saved it. I mean, unlikely, but he could have.
yeah. I'd
Like,
rather. It's easy to say that in hindsight, but I would rather that because it's just also we've gone down to 10 men so many times recently. it's just such an uphill struggle. We could have done without it. It was just a really, it was such a disappointing red card in terms of like a couple of mistakes. It wasn't even like a brilliant move from St Mirren. We take out the guy to stop a definite goal. It was just a really It was really disappointing how it came from nothing. It just came from a mistake. I think I could have taken a last man challenge when they've done a good move, but it was really frustrating the way it happened.
I mean, the red card thing. So, I mean, the Benny one just seems kind of inexplicable, right? He just
Yeah.
he goes and it's just so un-Benny like, wasn't it? Do you think the other red cards and just general mistakes in play is it exhaustion? Is it pressure from a top, or is it just these things happen? Like, how are these red cards and, simple goals that, are huge opportunities being given away? And also, I think it's worth also including in this that almost penalty from Milne. It was just such a poor tackle, and pretty lucky not to give away a penalty there. Not that it really mattered in the.
It was
So
the attempted header for me, the one when the ball's in there, and he looks at it, and then he just like decides not to jump.
Yeah.
I was like, what's going on? Oh, it was awful.
I mean, it all stacks up, and where's this coming from? Dundee United game, I think we looked really assured, confident. What's the difference between that game and this game? Obviously, look, Dundee United get the red card, but is it also just the fact we managed to get an early goal? I don't know, but we just looked confident from the get-go, really. I mean, there's 5-10 minutes in Dundee United game we looked a bit unsure. But where are all these mistakes, these red cards, ultimately stemming from?
It's hard to say. I mean, comparing the two, obviously, Dundee United, they didn't press us at all. They didn't look like they had a game plan. They didn't have any. Sounds really bad, but I didn't think at any point they looked like they actually were going to try and win the game. Whereas St Mirren, admittedly, football-wise, they're probably a worse team than Dundee United.
Mm-hmm.
But Robinson's just said to them, press, get in their faces, make it difficult.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what the mistake comes from. It's that they close Finlay down quick. He tries to do some stupid turn or touch and then loses it. And it's the same with the Benny one. Finlay gets the ball, they press on. He messes up, does a poor pass into Benny. Benny obviously doesn't need to do that tackle, but it comes from that sort of putting ourselves under pressure with stupid play.
What's the way around that then, and why are we so susceptible to a pretty straightforward, simple press? And look, I do think actually St Mirren has seemed to be this kind of bizarre bogey team for us. Certainly in Paisley anyway. But what are we not doing, or what are we doing that's making us, make all these mistakes from pressing play? Your thoughts, Adam?
I don't know. It's a hard one. I mean, St Mirren just seem to have the better of us, and I don't know if that's something to do with like the tactics against them, or each away game's obviously been really disappointing. We haven't won any of them. There's something about them that we're not coping with,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe even making changes like bringing in Steinvender instead of Altena is almost like us trying to play the opposition rather than just go out there and play our normal game. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
And I do think, well, sorry to come in there, Adam, but I do think that's a really good point, is that sometimes you do just need to sort of play your own game, don't you? And that
yeah.
I almost think, maybe I'm getting way too into this, but I think it almost alters the mindset as well. If you're not putting out, the team didn't change a great deal, right? But if you think about just that in combination of perhaps what McInnes is saying, does it alter mindset? I just feel right, I wasn't there. We weren't there, I should say, for the warm up beforehand. But I remember hearing a couple of folks saying even then we just didn't look particularly up for it. So I don't know if it is some sort of mindset stemming from, lineup, from tactics, something like that.
I don't know if you can put it down to that, because hasn't Steinbender played in both the last
Yeah.
2 games against Celtic and
Mm.
looked solid, like it's worked? I think it more comes from maybe either the players or the instructions of they're going to press you. It's obvious they're going to press you. They've done it every time we've gone to Paisley.
Mm.
Don't mess about with it. If you need to get rid of it, just do it. Like, I think it's more simple. It's just a case of the players maybe not understanding. Well, maybe one player in particular at the moment not understanding that they're going to be right on them. They've clearly identified with the defence, if they do put pressure on him, put pressure on us, we are going to struggle more. Like other teams, like Dundee United, are just going to sit off us and let the defence do what they want, bring it forward, play it forward. It's just, I think it's just understanding the opponents, to be honest.
And, to give McInnes's dues as well, he did sound quite pissed off with how we played. He said we needed more runs from a forward line and more pass into space to make them think twice. And he also, just really talking about playing it forward. And we did kind of just look like a team that had the ball stuck under their feet, for large parts of the game. We did come into it a bit more in that second half, didn't we?
Can he say
Yeah.
that though after bringing Kent on and taking off Kizzy? Because I think personally that just says don't try and go forward, just sit back and invite the pressure on. Personally, I mean, you guys might have a completely different opinion, but I
I
don't
mean,
think he can come out and say that.
I thought we had a good we had a good spell in the second half at one point, and that was the only good spell. It was obviously after Vidas had come off, but I still obviously disagree with the decision to take him off. But I thought our only decent spell was in the second half.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with you. I just think, like, for McInnes to say we should have played it forward more when, you take off
Yeah,
one of the
I get what
players
you
who's going to
mean.
take it forward. It's almost like, for me, it just feels like almost like a deflection away from the fact that he probably got it wrong with the sub, or doing it that early was maybe the wrong decision. But who knows?
I mean, talking about subs, like I know this is a minor point. I really still don't understand why we brought Azure and Kajasta on in the 93rd of 93 minutes. Like, I know that wasn't the reason we lost, but if you're going to bring them on, why not bring them on with at least like 5-10 minutes to go?
It's weird. Alongside, obviously,
Oh,
the
actually,
no
having
Mato
said
and
that,
Chestikov.
I mean, sorry, not maybe not 5-10 minutes to go, but I mean, like once we go 1-0 down, sure, you just instantly bring on, you
Yeah,
instantly bring them on. Like
go
you
for it.
don't. So we basically waited 5 minutes because obviously it was the 88th minute. We brought them on in the 93rd. I'm surprised we didn't just instantly make the change because I don't know what they're gonna do in the last like minute of the game.
So
That
there's
was
nothing to
confusing.
lose. You've got nothing to
Yeah,
lose at that point. You might as well just go for it. It's weird. I also think, like, looking at like Kabori and Braga by the end of the game, like done so much running, they're knackered. Even if Mato's, maybe not full up to speed with the game, he can still
yeah,
play up front. He's quick. The only chance that we were going to go a goal in that game was probably on the counter. Do you not just think,
yeah.
regardless if he's like, physically up to speed, he's quick. He's got a better chance of getting in behind. But to have the only option on the bench being Kabangu at this point is it's
I
absolutely
know.
dire.
I agree again. But it's kind of consistent for McInnes. Kind of feels like generally that's what he does with the new guys. They don't play a huge amount at the start. It's it's a strange one that he would
I don't think we've
not
got the
even get.
luxury to do that though at the
I
moment.
know, I
Like
know, and
before,
I'm
yeah,
not
absolutely makes
defending him.
sense. Yeah,
I'm not
no,
defending
no.
him. I'm just saying that's kind of what McInnes has done. That seems to be
Yeah.
what McInnes does. Like I mean, there's been exceptions. Altona came straight in, and obviously he's been in and out of the team, but he's at least been starting games. But that was different, I think, because we'd identified that we needed a right back.
Same with
In other
Leonard.
yeah, I think when we absolutely needed someone to kind of come in and cover injuries or whatever, we seemed to play them straight from the start. Other guys just seem to come in and out and
Yeah.
don't feature much.
Also, I wouldn't be saying this if we had brought a striker in January. you know, and there's someone
Yeah.
else on the bench, I wouldn't be questioning it so much. I just think
Oh,
under
of
the
course.
circumstances, it's kind of like you just think it'd surely be worth having that option. You
Yeah,
know,
given the size of squad, that given that you have 9 subs on the bench nowadays, it's
was it
it's
not?
un-
Was it? I think I said it to you before the game. Was it? He said something about like Krajota obviously being ahead of them, and I was kind of looking at the bench and going, you can say that, but you've got like Spittle on the bench as do you need 2 sort of centre midfielders there? Magnuson on the bench as well, 3 midfielders.
yeah.
Should they sacrifice Spittle if he's obviously like the lower down choice out of them? Have Magnuson as have 2 wingers, have Kabangu for the striker, and then have 2 defenders.
Yeah, I know.
It's weird.
I was certainly like we were expecting him on the bench, weren't we? I mean,
Yeah,
he only came on for about 10 minutes in the last game, so it's not like he's like come on and been absolutely shattered or anything.
yeah. Like with Chesnikov after the Falkirk game, you can understand because he played way longer than he was
Yeah.
expecting to. Like, fair enough, he
Although
might be knackered. Give him the break.
it is concerning, obviously, that he's disappeared since then, and that seems to be a fitness issue in terms of what he's done
Yeah,
before joining us. That's a concern. Hopefully, Mato, it's a simple case of bringing him back for the next game. Because Chesnikov, who knows when we're going to see him again based on him
uh,
disappearing out of the squad.
do you think there's any chance either of them actually make the bench for the derby? I know you were saying obviously that's the plan,
I
but I
I
can't see
think we'll
either.
I think we'll see Mato on the bench. Because we're gonna be down Halkett as well now. So there's going to be an extra space. I mean, it's either that. Honestly, it's either that or Alan Forrest because there's no one else that was. There's actually no one else in the squad now.
Yeah,
Like everyone else, because of our injuries and that, you have to bring someone in for Halkett to be on the bench. So one of them has to be there, unless it's Alan Forrest, which hopefully it's not. So I think Mato will be on the bench.
I hope so.
I mean, we'll go into sort of further detail about transfers in general and what we think might be the lineup when we look ahead to the Hibs game. One player I did want to mention there, who is a new player, is Leonard. Now, it's quite interesting to see the difference between him in this game and the Dundee United game, who's fairly anonymous. I mean, he wasn't the only player you could accuse of being that way in the St Mirren game. But I mean, I was really impressed with him in the Dundee United game. I tell you, he reminded me of first half of season 22-23 Snodgrass. You know, when he could just sort of dictate play from midfield. That was the same sort of. Yeah, it reminded me of that, and hopefully we can see more of that. But the game just passed him by, and he didn't seem to be able to really grab hold of things. Again, he's a player who's going to take a wee bit of time to adjust to the game, and you could see that in the Celtic game where he didn't have a particularly inspiring first half, really came into the game a lot more in that second half when he got used to pace. So I think he's a player who's we just keep playing him. He's gonna have moments where he's not involved in the game as much, but then when he is able to get control and grab hold of the game, I think he'll be an incredibly useful player for us, actually. Second half, then, I mean, we've kind of covered it mainly here, really just we did come on into the game a bit more, but at the end of the day, it just, I mean, you look at the end game stats, we managed 5 shots altogether to their 21. I think we did pretty well to battle ourselves back into it, but yet again, we're doing it with one hand tied behind our back with 10 men. And if they're going to pressure and push us and be physical, and we're not creating much of worth, then it's just kind of only going to end one way. And it was a bit of a sickener, but I don't know. To me, yeah, look, I would have really liked to have got away with a point, but at the same time, I don't know. I was just kind of, by the end of the game, I was half expecting it, to be honest. It's interesting, though, because Adam, I remember us saying during the game, our opinions about what we'd take from the game kind of
Yeah.
ebbed and flowed, didn't it? We were thinking,
Yeah.
actually, no way would I take a draw. We can win this. And
I
there
mean,
was a point,
I mean, yeah, Jamie asked me maybe at half time. He was like, "Would you take a point?" And I was like, "No way." But I'll be honest, it was kind of blind optimism. It
Hmm.
it was blind optimism, but it was more the fact that we're top of the league. Every game matters so much. We have managed to carve out victories from games like this before, like the Dundee game. I know it was slightly different circumstances, but now that the dust has settled, obviously a point with 10 men away to St Mirren wouldn't have been a terrible result. So it is pretty gutting to have lost that, because at the time I think even a draw I'd have been disappointed with, but it's the kind of one that a couple of days later, actually you go, that's not a bad point in the grand scheme of things, given the red card. I mean, I think it's also worth saying, like, I thought Swallow had a good game, but
Yeah, he did.
I didn't realize when I was at the game that when he tips it out for a corner that leads to their goal, it was
Hmm.
100% going wide.
Yeah.
That's not something like I don't think we picked up on it at the time, but like, yeah, it's miles wide. Well, not miles, but it's definitely wide. But I think he made several good saves, so it's hard to criticize him too much. But that I was a bit more gutted once I realised that it could have just been a goal kick.
Yeah.
Um,
And who's to say, we might not have, as the game got close to the end, we might not have got a break or a chance ourselves. Again,
yeah,
I just feel, too little, too late from substitution wise as well.
the fact that you've got Aju and Kagata coming on in the 93rd minute, like when we lost to go in the 88th minute, what's I don't know what the point is of that.
Mm.
And obviously you're waiting until 10 minutes to go to make, apart from the Kazarides sub, obviously, which we did early on, you're waiting until 10 minutes before the end of the game to make any other changes. So yeah, that was a tough one. I think in terms of subs, it would have been nice to see some changes a bit earlier on, especially with 10 men.
There's also a bit I forgot to mention, but in the game, Adam, where we both almost had heart failure.
God, yeah, that was. Sorry, carry on. But that was, I was actually, it was so bad I was telling someone at work that. But carry on.
So basically, there's an old guy in front of us. There's all the way end was all standing, and the guy leaned a bit too far forward and snapped one of the St. Mirren seats. And honestly, the noise of it was,
I thought a bomb had gone off. Like
yeah,
everyone around, like almost had a heart attack. It was the loudest noise I've ever heard at a match.
it
It took me
was,
a couple of minutes. It took me like 30 seconds to know what had happened.
it was genuinely like shock. Like, when you have like pale
Oh
faced from like,
God, it was.
I mean,
Yeah,
I
I
would
was
say
actually terrified.
it's definitely the closest I've ever come to physically shitting myself at a
No,
game.
that was me at the Killy away game for other reasons, but I
You
survived.
beat me to it.
I thought you were setting up a punchline
Yeah, you
there.
could see it coming, couldn't you?
Killy
But
game, we
yes,
were every goal celebrating every goal, and I'm just meekly celebrating in case.
a meek little shake of the fist. But yes, to cut a
Just
long
to be
story
clear
short,
for just to be clear for listeners, I did not actually do that, but I did have to. With 10 minutes to go, I did have to leave for a little while. I was holding on until we scored, and then I waited a
quite
bit longer, and
literally,
then
yeah.
yeah, and then yeah, it wasn't. That was the worst half for me, despite despite how well we did in that match.
Basically, what we're saying is, don't order the chips at Rugby Park.
For some reason,
Is
apparently I can't handle it, and
or when you're
yeah,
Adam, don't order the chips from Rugby Park.
yeah, that was luckily there was a toilet in the station. That's all I'll say. Or I
I think
almost
we've
missed the
said enough.
train,
Yeah.
but I managed to.
It's getting a little bit
Anyway,
too visual for the listeners here, Adam.
this is distracting us from the shit match at least.
Yeah. Anything else anyone wants to mention about either this game or the Dundee United game before we go through some of the transfers that's happened in this window?
I I wanted to mention, like, I think Kabari coming in and getting a double against Dundee United.
Hmm.
I think he did very well in that game, and despite, funnily enough, with the match, with it being like raining all the time and it being a wet pitch, he seemed to actually not fall down at all. So maybe that's the answer. But I think that was very good, given the fact that there's a lot of people doubting him. I think also it's worth mentioning the atmosphere at Tannadice.
Hmm.
Probably the best Yeah, probably the best away atmosphere I think this season. And I think obviously it helped going 1-0 up early on and all the red cards. But
I thought Kujala was pretty good against Dundee United when he came on.
Yeah, Kurjati, he, I mean, I don't know what he can do ever to get himself a start. For me, he's one of the players you can actually get off the bench. I mean, if you look at our squad for the St Mirren game, there's not a huge amount of people you'd consider proper game changers. Kurjot, I do think, is one of those ones. But bringing him on in the 93rd minute of a game, I mean, what does he have to do to get some proper minutes? Again, look, obviously McInnes sees him on the training pitch, and we only see brief glimpses. I mean, it really is quite brief glimpses for him. But yeah, I just think something needs to shake up the team a little bit in games like that, in particular. So why
I,
not bring on a player like that?
I mean, I don't get it. If you look at the minutes he's come on, I mean, 28 minutes against Dundee United in August was the longest amount of time he's had on the pitch. And then only another time he had 20 minutes against Celtic. Apart from that, it's just been cameos pretty much every
Mhm.
game. I don't know. I don't understand. Like we're a few months into the season. I really can't understand why he's not played a little bit more, or had a start, or got a half or anything. And even against like Dundee United, when they've had red cards, he's still only coming on for like what, less than 20 minutes. It's just that's a mystery to me, that one.
I mean, if there's any game where he's going to get some more minutes, surely it's against Hibs, where he had his moment of glory. Uh, Going back to Kabori, though, yeah, I think it's definitely worth mentioning him. And I think also, I think him and Braga are managing. I'm actually quite impressed with how quickly they're managing to develop a decent relationship and understanding of one another on the pitch. Even though things don't work out for them against St Mirren, you could still see like they obviously have a lot of respect for each other, quite clearly like each other a lot, and I think that's a huge thing. Being able to just come in and he's got very big boots to fill, hasn't he? But I think he's done admirably there, and him and Bragg have done pretty well to develop a striking partnership. Actually,
Yeah, and you could see Kabori and Braga seem to have really good like chemistry. In a couple of games, they just seem to work well together and
Mhm.
the team spirit just seems to be really good. And I noticed a couple of moments where they were kind of really backing each other.
Okay, so let's have a look through all the transfers that happened, or look at the key ones that happened throughout the winter transfer window. In came Jordi Altina, Rogers Mato, Islam Chesnikov, Mark Leonard. I think it's probably also worth mentioning that we signed Stuart Finlay on a permanent contract, or we're going to sign him on a permanent contract when his loan runs out. And of course, McPake on a pre-contract as well. There was some talk of him potentially coming in, but I think he got an injury anyway. So that kind of, and also St John's are going to want to keep hold of him because he is their star man, and obviously they're looking right back into the Premiership. Now, as far as outgoings, there was, I mean, as we've, as well, say as John covered, there was a lot in the sort of lower, in the B team and youth players that have gone out. We won't cover all of them. Main ones to mention, James Wilson was the big one. There was a bit of a sort of, almost a sort of bidding war between Arsenal and Tottenham. Tottenham were eventually the ones that came out on top, so they've got him on a loan with an option to buy. I think it's for about 2.5 million in the summer if he impresses them. And we'll have, I think there's buy-ons as well. So that's really where hopefully a good bit of money will come in if he does really well for them and he decide to sell him on, we should be in for a bit of a windfall there. McInnes did actually say that he didn't think it was the right move for him. I mean, I disagree. I think he's barely had a sniff here. It would have been fantastic to have an option like Wilson or the St Mirren game, but I mean, really, why not just take a gamble going down south? I mean, yeah, he will be playing in the youth teams, but if he manages to impress them and they think we might as well give this guy a contract, the kind of contract they could give, even for a player that's not going to feature for them heavily or for a while. I mean, that's kind of life changing money, that is. And he's not going to be on he's going to be on a decent amount here, but really the amount that Premier League teams can offer are significant. So I think it's a great experience for him, if anything. If he comes back up the road in the summer, so what? I think he was absolutely right to take that opportunity.
Yeah, I think I was a bit surprised at McInnes kind of criticising the move. I mean, he's saying like all he's doing is moving for like academy football, but he's barely had any minutes with us. He's had like, just checking, like 3 sub appearances since August. That's
Yeah.
it. So he's almost never even in the squad. Like I don't think. I think he's meant to have turned down a move. I think when he was 16 to a big English team as well.
Yeah.
So he's obviously a pretty sensible guy. He's like stayed here, completed his education, and 100%. I think he made the right choice. He's not featuring barely at all for Hearts. He's got a chance of like going to these great facilities, making a big salary. I don't think you can hold it against him. I think if he was a regular in the team and we were fighting for the title, that's different. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't think McInnes can criticise him when he's not playing him at all. It's a strange one. He's also got, it's worth noting, he's got like the 2 younger brothers as well
Yeah.
at heart. So hopefully we don't piss them off. But like, you know what I mean? Like, I was unexpected from McInnes. I didn't really think he would. He's saying like they turned his head, and that. I didn't think
No.
McInnes would say that. To be honest, I think that was a bit harsh.
Yeah. My thoughts on this, and I'm kind of jumping ahead a bit here, but I think it's worth mentioning here. I think what he said is born of frustration from our lack of getting any other strikers in. Because, I mean, when you look at the bench, all we've got at the moment is Cabangu, a guy that we effectively put in the shop window and said, come and take him if you want him. And yet he's had to stay here because no one wants him. That's our option off the bench right now. So I think that there's perhaps frustration from McInnes that we no longer have the option of bringing James Wilson off the bench. So I think frustration could well come into it there.
We weren't expecting Cabangu to still be standing at the end of the transfer window.
I'll finish off the other loans and then we can kind of come back to that. Kenneth Vargas, as we know, he's currently playing with John.
Alacuense.
Thank you. Sander Khartoum went away. He's never had a sniff under McInnes, understandable. Xander Clark is down south, and Harry Stone is away at Airdrieonians. So let's go back then to, I think my feelings, I'll put this out to the floor. My feelings is it was a mistake not to get in a striker in this window. I appreciate we'll be getting Shanklin back soon, but perhaps the ones we had targeted were priced out, but not to even bring someone in a loan that might give us another option off the bench. I think you'd have to think we're quite a good prospect for any footballer to come into, even if you're not going to get a start every game. January, I know, is a hard window, but still, I don't know. Your thoughts, guys?
Yeah, I mean, certainly agree. Even if Oisin hadn't left, I think we were really hoping to bring in a striker, given his lack of minutes. I wondered if we'd maybe have done like a Mark Leonard style one, where you bring in a guy on loan no option to buy, just bring him in as cover for the rest of the season. I mean, it's clear that from what McInnes has said, it's clear that we were trying to get someone. But
Hmm.
yeah, I thought we'd maybe at least have got like a short-term loan from an English club, that kind of thing, just to give an extra option, because we're certainly short at the moment. Even when Shankland comes back, we don't have a huge number of strikers given the size of the squad.
The only thing I can think about maybe not getting a striker loan is that maybe they're thinking ahead to summer and thinking that they've got someone in mind. I know they were saying they've obviously been priced out of a few signings. Maybe the loan there wasn't someone who'd been playing regularly enough to come in and actually make a difference. Obviously,
Yeah,
Leonard's come in. He
yeah,
played a bit previously, so maybe there wasn't a similar profile to him. Who'd actually been playing games.
that's fair. I mean, January is also a tough window, isn't it? You're kind of bringing guys in who aren't doing very well at their clubs.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, we know McInnes wanted one from what he said. It's just
Hmm.
hasn't worked out, and I guess you can't get everyone.
I think also Matto can play in a sort of striker-esque role, so perhaps if he comes in and he's playing on the wing, he can move forward into a striking position, something like that. So I think there are options there. We've still really not seen anything of Matto to know. I think the other frustration I have with this window, look, I think that the players we've got in, Leonard in particular, I think it's a good one. Altena, obviously, he can definitely provide something to his team. But it's frustrating to me that Matto and Chesnikov just aren't getting a game, and I know why. But if you look to, even Hibs, they had about 3 of their new signings, if not 4 of their new signings, all getting a game straight away yesterday. It, I just feel frustrated that we've got players in who aren't fit to play right away. I think is my main gripe. What are your thoughts?
I think what you're saying is right as well. The other thing is, for players to get match fitness, they need to play.
Yeah.
You can say, oh, they need to be up to speed, to this and that, but unless they're like severely unfit, a player should be able to manage at least 10, 15 minutes at the end of the game to get used to the game, you know understand the speed of the game and get used to it. I know the St Mirren one, obviously we're down to 10 men, but as I said before, I still think, look at Matto, you could have chucked him on the counter. He's got pace. I'm not the biggest fan of the way we do it, and obviously, as we mentioned before, Kajota, he should have had way more time than he has. Like, I don't quite get it. It's a bit weird to me.
The other thing, all our outgoings were all loans. It would have been nice to actually cash in on a couple of players, but there's not much we can do there, to be honest. If we can't sell them, we can't sell them. Yeah, I think the ones that did go out on loan all pretty much made sense. There wasn't any there that I, raised my eyebrows. There was a couple more that would have been good to get out the door. The obvious one, really. Not Kabangu anymore. He seemed the obvious one until we didn't get anyone else in and Wilson went out the door. Forrest would be the other one, I think John will mention. But yeah, I think all in all, I'm fairly happy with how we've done in this window. But there are a few gripes I have. I think a striker really was needed, and the fitness levels of a couple of our players coming in is disappointing. Feelings on the January transfer as a whole, then, Adam?
Pretty similar to you. I think we did well overall. The striker is just the one thing we were missing. I think we identified the key areas that we needed players in. Bringing in Altena and Chesnikov was obviously very important. Leonard in his cover, and then Mato. So I think it's a kind of a 7.5, 8 out of 10 transfer window.
Yeah, fair.
Just with Shankland being injured, would have been nice to have a striker. But yeah, it's I think it's a decent window for January. Is all I'll say. Given it's a bit tougher than in the summer.
Thoughts, John?
Yeah, I agree. I think every Hearts fan will say the same thing. We're just missing that striker. It's going to be tough without Shanklin, but this is what these players are there for. You know, Kabori's been waiting for a while. Just got to hope he comes good. I mean, he did it against Dundee United, so let's hope he can carry on the goal scoring.
Yeah, Kabanga could be our rocket man up front as well for the rest of the season.
Jesus. I think the other thing I want to also say is that every player we've got in seems measured, calculated, and you can see where they all fit into the squad. Whereas you look at Celtic, it's just in those last few days, it felt panic buying, didn't it? Or loaning. It seemed almost a scattergun approach. Same with a few other teams. So from that regard, I'm really happy with what we've done there, and there's definitely we've been witness to quite a few panic buy or scattergun transfer windows, and that certainly wasn't one of ours. So yeah, I feel our complaints are not too strong really, and by and large a pretty strong winter window really.
I agree. I mean, I think we've gone into it in a position of strength, being top of the league, and we've kind of identified key areas, and we've obviously fell short with one position. But yeah, seeing the number of loans that Celtic are bringing in, yeah, it does certainly feel, especially last minute ones, certainly feels like they're panicking, and that who knows how successful that will be. So I'm glad we obviously didn't just suddenly bring in a bunch of guys at the last minute. I think it's a reflection of how well our season's gone compared to Celtic, really.
So, first of all, I want to put something on social media, just asking people's thoughts. I went on X, asked people's thoughts on what they would like the lineup to be for Tuesday. And I'll run through a wee bit of it now. So, and then once I've gone through all of what it says, I'll let you guys have your thoughts. So Indigo Dram, he said, I'd give Kurjota a start and Altina on the right. Harry Temple's come in and said he would like Schwolo, Altina, Steinvender, Finlay, Milne. And then midfield you've got Kurjota, Leonard, Tam, I'm guessing that's Thomas Magnuson, Kizzy and Braga and Kabori up front. Baz Lightbeer, like the name. Follow Altena, Steinvender, Finlay, Milne. Then you've got a midfield three of Leonard, Benny, and he's put a captain's armband on Benny, and McEntee, and then Chesnikov, Braga, and Kizzy. Also, I should mention that Harry Temple, he also put a wee armband on a player. He went for Milne. Then Gorgie Opinion, he said his lineup would be Gordon, Altena, Steinvender, McCart, Milne. You've got Magnuson, McEntee, Leonard, and then Kurjota, Braga, and Kizzy. But he also gave his most probable lineup, which is Schwolo, Steinvender, Kent, Finlay, Milne, then McEntee, Benny, Leonard, Kabori, Braga, and Kizaridis. And he said, in brackets, I think Dell will try and overcompensate loss of Halks with 101 centre-backs. Someone did question him on Gordon, and I think that's somewhere I'd actually like to start, because we're obviously missing the spine of our team, and within that spine comes a lot of experience. We've not got Shankland, we've not got Devlin, and we've not got Halkett. You think Dell will bring in Gordon for that experience and perhaps wearing the captain's armband for the game on Tuesday? I think one of the things I really had issue with as well during the St Mirren game after Halkett went off, and I said this to you at the time, Adam, there just didn't seem to be much leadership there. For me, I think, as far as if you're putting the captaincy armband on someone mentioned Benny as the captain. I'm not sure I'd do that. I guess if he's going to play Kent, he wore the armband on against St Mirren, so perhaps he'd do that then. But I would just say to Benny now, don't get me wrong, he's kind of one of those players who's, quite smiley and happy. But I think I've seen a different side to him in a couple of interviews recently where he does seem to have a bit more fire into him. And perhaps Dell could just say to him, look, I need you to provide a bit more leadership in midfield, which I think we really lacked. And kind of really bring everyone together, provide some leadership in the midfield, Kent or whoever can do it in the back line. But yeah, I just felt there was just a sense of leadership and really someone who would stand up and be counted during that St Mirren game. And we won't have that with Halkett missing, or we won't have as much of it with Halkett missing. See, that's my starting point. Sorry, it was a bit of a long starting point. But what's your thoughts?
Just on the captaincy.
Captaincy and sort of leadership, and kind of feeding into whether you think Gordon might get a start on Tuesday.
I've got two shouts.
Yep.
Maybe a bit more rogue, ones that people might not mention. But first one, and this is purely just because of how well he's played, would be Leonard. Obviously, been in our academy, knows how much the game means. I think you've seen that he's got that grit about him in the game so far. He's not shied away from any tackles. He's not been afraid to take the ball. And I feel like if he's got that responsibility, could thrive on it. The other one's McEntee. Just purely because he just gives 100% every game. And I feel like, again, if you look at your leader, look at Shankland, he would sort of take the team on his shoulders. I feel like McEntee's that sort of player that if people look at him, I know it's maybe thinking into it a bit too much, but if they see a player like him wearing the armband, going for everything, chasing every ball, not giving up, I feel like everyone else around them has to sort of, be at those standards as well. But I don't know what you think, Adam.
I think it'll just be a straightforward case of Kent being captain, but when we were thinking of like other options, McEntee was actually the one that came to mind for me. I wouldn't give Benny the captaincy as much as I like the guy. McEntee was the kind of one that was coming to my mind, but I think he'll start Kent and make him captain.
I think with the goalkeepers is it might come into thinking, obviously with the last derby, conceding 3 goals, that maybe it is better going with Gordon.
I can see, especially since I think McInnes has basically said he will swap the keepers around. This seems like the kind of game that you might play Gordon in. Expect Hibs to get a few more chances. Yeah, I could see Gordon as well. What would you make Gordon captain if he started?
I think if he starts, then he will be.
Yeah, I could see it being Gordon in goals. I mean, I think me and you predicted Gordon for a recent game though, and we're slaughtered in, in the group chat. But I think if you look at how McInnes has decided so far with making him the goalie against Celtic, if he is going to put him in goals, what would we put him for Hibs? Would we put him at Ibrox? Could he have a couple of games like that and then you bring Swallow back for Falkirk? Possibly.
I think it probably depends on the sort of chances that these teams are getting as well.
Yeah.
Swallow's probably better all round, but if you're thinking about, especially a game like a derby where it's on, it's on those big chances, they're the big moments in the game. Maybe you get away with it in other games slightly, but in a derby, having Gordon there to make that vital save could be massive.
Yeah, I think Gordon and goal is captain. If not, you'd have Kent. He will have Kent as captain. That's what I'd go for. I mean, that's what I think he'll go for.
Two things. I think first of all, Swallow was absolutely the right choice for St Mirren. The way they pressed us, I wouldn't trust Gordon as far as I could throw him with the amount of times he had to pass back the ball to Swallow, and he had to kick us out of trouble a few times. I don't see Hibs pressing us because it's a home game, as a derby. I don't see that happening. So that leads to my thinking that it might well be Gordon in goals. But let's talk of important saves. Swallow's more than capable, and he made some really important and good saves in the St Mirren game. I don't. The only reason I think you'd maybe want to bring in Gordon really is just for that leadership quality, or for that leadership quality really, because I think Swallow's more than capable of making big saves in games as well. But I think going back to Benny being captain, I'm not really saying that Benny should be captain, just kind of reiterate my point here. It's just I'd expect someone like, as you say, Adam Kent to just come straight in and be captain. But I just want there to be more leaders on the pitch,
Yeah.
more people who will really. But maybe you don't need that as much for a derby. I just felt it was totally missing for large parts of the game against St Mirren. But it's something we will need until we've got players like Devlin and Shanklin back. I know, obviously, Halkett will be back soon. So, as far as lineups go, then, what are you thinking? Backline, we'll start with that then. What are people's thoughts about it?
I'm going to go with Gordon in goal.
Okay.
McEntee right back. Steinvender, Finlay, Milne would be my back four.
So you wouldn't put, you don't like Kent, do you?
He's so likely to cost us a goal. And
Mhm.
I mentioned this, I was talking to Adam earlier about the goal against St Mirren. He's got a free run at the ball. He's not marking him. They told him just to stay in that spot. He's got so much time and he just misses the header. It's really poor. But also, he's not reliable enough. And I just feel like if you put McEntee there with Steinvender, I think that'd be more sensible.
Okay, Adam, your thoughts then?
I mean, I'd say it'll be Gordon, Steinvender at right back. Sorry. I think I'd say it'd be Gordon, Steinvender, Kent, Finlay, and Milne. I'm pretty certain of the back four in defence. That would be what it is. I'd be slightly wary of making. I'd be a little bit wary of making too many changes, to be honest.
Yeah.
Is that what
I
you want
think.
the back four to be? Or is that what you think it'll be?
I mean, that's what I think it will be in terms of wanting. I'm not sure. I'd be reluctant to make two changes to the back four though. Like I think Steinvender's done a decent job, so I'm not sure I would
Yeah.
take him out of right back. That would be my concern. And McCart actually, yeah, McCart could you put McCart in instead of Kent?
That's what I was thinking. I mean,
That kind of that's a good shout.
given he didn't come into the game against St Mirren, I guess it makes me feel like he's unlikely to bring him in for. I mean, I wonder what his thinking was to bring Kent on ahead of McCart for that game against St Mirren. Maybe it's because Kent's quite an imposing figure. I don't know.
I'd
Is he
maybe
much?
presume it's the foot, like obviously McCart being left footed. I wonder maybe
Yeah.
it's just like put the right footed on the right footer on the right side. Just straight swap for Halkett, obviously.
Fair enough.
I mean that's what I would presume, but I don't it could be the physicality as well, to be honest, it would make sense.
I think also one obviously a key area that Hibs have got is a bit of pace, particularly with Boyle, for example. I'm trying to think who'd be one of her. McCart's actually quite fast, isn't he? As far as defenders go.
Steinvender's meant to be quick.
Yeah,
From what I've heard.
that's right.
The other option is always Adam Forrester back for a week. If he starts, I'm not. I'll leave. I'm going home.
So we're not starting Altena then.
I just don't think you can play him in the derby, can you?
No, I don't think McInnes would start him, and I wouldn't start him either. Yeah,
The only way that
I
would
think
possibly
it's too
happen is
risky.
if we did like a five at the back, or a 3 or a 5. You play, say, Steinbender, Kent, and Finlay, and then have Milne and Altena sort of playing higher up on your
Yeah,
side,
that's
but I can't see that.
Yeah, and if it's a flat back four, you're not gonna. I don't think he's gonna start Altona.
No chance.
It's too. We're not sure about him defensively yet, are we? Like, I don't.
Yeah.
I think it's too soon to play him in a game like that. And he didn't play him against Celtic. The other kind of the biggest one so far. He didn't even come on as a sub, so I think he won't play him against Hibs.
He's still quite young, isn't he? He's only 22 or something. But
Yeah,
again, probably like we've said with a lot of signings, probably just trying to sort of bring them in slowly and use them in separate games. Steinvinder's done quite well when it's come to like the physical battle, so
I
makes
think he
sense.
trusts Steinbender as well. I think he
Yeah.
speaks quite positively about him. I would feel safer with him starting certainly
Yeah.
for the derby.
Well, I'm actually gonna. I was gonna move on to midfield, but I'm gonna throw another one out there. Kingsley could well be back for this one. And also, I mean, technically, Borchgrevink is also going to be back, but I think we can probably just bypass him entirely.
I thought Kingsley was out for a little longer than that.
I think I read today that he's
Oh,
expected to
He's
be
really?
back in
back.
training. Yeah, he's him and
Oh, wow. 'Cause
Borchgrevink are both back in training.
they'd said late February originally.
Hmm.
I must have. Maybe it's been quicker. I didn't read that. Sorry. Because I'd
So
be
that,
happy. Obviously, depends on his fitness, doesn't it?
yeah, I mean, if you put him in, and he is, someone I'd consider very reliable, it does, of course, mean that Milne would move up into midfield, or yeah.
Well, by
I
that
mean,
logic, you could also do the same with McCart though, couldn't you? Put McCart at left back. You could even put him. I mean, I'd really
Yeah.
think it's unlikely, but you could put Milne at right back. So do Milne, Steinvender, or Kent, Finlay, McCart. There's quite a lot of options, to be honest. I mean, they're not obviously the options you want. You want Halkett to be playing, but
Yeah.
there's a few different choices that you could go with.
Yeah, and they're all like, obviously losing Halkett's a blow, but we do have actually a really pretty solid selection. After having this conversation, it's reminded me how decent a selection we've got. It's interesting though, isn't it, that Kingsley's been sort of moved back into a sort of left back position under McInnes. He become more of a centre back beforehand. Like, it's definitely an option. You could have Kingsley back in there, but I don't think McInnes is going to chop and change things about as much to do something like that, for example. But yeah, it's good to have him back in contention, certainly. Okay, we will move on to midfield now then. John, your midfield, please.
So I'll just go with what I'd want again.
Go
So
for it.
I think, as obviously mentioning, for my one, moving McEntee to right back, I think I would then go with a midfield three, which I think would be quite good, of Leonard, Benny, and Magnuson.
Like it. Okay, what about yourself, Adam?
Certainly Leonard and Benny, and then I guess it's tough if I'm putting Stenvinder at right back. It's tough in terms of like McEntee and Magnuson.
If it's between
Sorry,
those two, it's probably going to be McEntee, isn't it? By
I
like
think.
logic.
Yeah, I'm thinking Leonard Benny, and you'll probably go Leonard Benny and McEntee. It's just you kind of miss Magnuson being in the team now.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's really hard since now that Benny's back, we've got and Leonard's here as well. Suddenly, you've got a lot of options there.
Wait till
But
Devlin's back.
I guess Leonard Benny and McEntee. Oh yeah, and imagine when Devlin comes back. Wow.
They've got Aju as well.
Oh
About to
God,
say,
yeah.
will this be the
Oh yeah,
game?
actually, could you start Aju? Yeah. What about Leonard Benny and Aju?
You could. I don't know if he will, but yeah, you honestly could play more
See,
attacking.
that to me is a nice strong
Yeah,
midfield.
yeah. There we go. That's me. After 25 minutes, I'm.
Is
That's
it
why
just
I'm
too
not in
early
charge of
though?
hearts.
Is
I
it too
know, I
early
know,
to start him, especially in a game like that? It's got to
I
be.
know.
Nah,
It's
fuck
a
it.
it's a big shout. It's a big shout though, but he's got a lot of faith in him, hasn't he? That's why he brought him on in the 93rd minute against St Mirren. So I thought he goes from that 30 seconds to set him up perfectly for
90
Derby
minutes
Sun.
of Derby.
I think McInnes needs to do something a bit more risky. I mean, to me, that's not even risky, right? He's been in training for a while now. He's ready to come back. Fucking, he's our top scorer, our top
Fuck it, go
signing
for it.
ever.
Just top scorer. Fucking he's doing well.
Or that goal he scored in the 93rd minute against St Mirren, that equaliser. Wow, Jamie,
Yeah.
you left early. You
I
missed
left and missed it.
13 goals in 40 minutes.
He's doing well, guys.
Fine, we're
Hey,
going Leonard Benny Adju, and I've been talked around. It's never going to happen, but you never know.
there's probably more chance of Kurjota starting. Let's be honest.
I was actually considering saying him to start, to be honest. But that's probably unrealistic. I don't know. Could Kurjota start?
No chance.
Come on.
There's more chance of that, as you.
Yeah.
More chance
There's
of
more
Genuinely, I
our
chance of
think there
forwards.
is.
Tesnikov.
And of course, Mato.
Well, he's
Well,
not going to start.
Yeah, I mean, let's move on to the forwards then. So you've got 3 to go for in that case, John. Who's your 3?
I wonder it's going to be.
Yeah,
I'm going to go Kizzy, Kabore, and Braga.
right.
That's
Adam.
interesting. I am going Kizzy, Braga, and Kabangu. I'm joking.
Alan
Kizzy
Forrest,
Braga.
Kabangu.
Kizzy Braga and Kabori. I think that's one of the easiest positions on the pitch to pick for that game.
So no one's saying Mato's starting then?
And given the fact he wasn't even in the squad for the last game, I think it's almost impossible he's going to chuck him in from the start. Are you going for Mato as well as Azure?
You might as well just look. Mine's got Kurjota. It's got wild cards all over the place.
Yeah, I'm going Altona, Mato, Chesnikov, Azure. No, I'm joking.
I'm starting Shankland even though he's injured. Fuck it.
Ryan Filton, actually, that could be a tactical move.
Okay, well, let's think about what our predictions are for this game. Now, I mean, it's so difficult. I mean, it's funny just how one result can sort of change your whole feelings about everything. You know, after Dundee United game, I would have been confident as anything, but I guess you do have that slight sense of it was just such a poor performance against St Mirren, and you know Hibs came. I have to say, actually, Hibs played pretty poorly against Dundee United, but still somehow managed to find the win. Obviously, Rangers clawing back the goal difference after that 5-1 hammering of Kilmarnock. And again, it wasn't a 5-1 game for those who's not seen it. It wasn't a 5-1 game, but still. However, having said all that, I think we've had a good amount of time between this game and the Hibs game to get ourselves together. I think Dell's going to have them completely drilled. They're going to know what they're doing. It's going to be a pretty straightforward 2-0 for Heart of Midlothian Football Club. It's going to be a Braga goal and it's going to be an Ajo goal. What are your thoughts? Adam, I'll go to you first.
I'm going to say 3-1 Hearts. I'm going to go for Braga, Aju, and Mark Leonard.
Excellent. Okay, how about yourself, John?
As I always say, I don't do Derby predictions.
Oh yeah,
So
you do.
I'm
Well,
just going to say fuck the Hibs. That's it.
how about because Trunter, I should have mentioned earlier, but Trunter is unfortunately unavailable due to personal matters he had to deal with. You should be back for next week. I look forward to welcoming him then. How about you do a prediction on behalf of Trunter then?
Oh, that's a defeat or a draw, I reckon.
Magnuson
Yeah,
hat trick.
maybe not. He's
Finley goal.
yeah, that's true.
It's Trunter.
Fine, we'll say 1-0 Finley goal from Trunter,
Finway
cheers for
header.
prediction, bro. Right, last but not least then, let's have this week's quiz. Now, Adam, I think you're going to thumb through your Hearts quiz book and give us something from there.
Yeah.
John,
Sadly,
did
I
you
already
manage?
did the Derby. Sorry, I was going to say I unfortunately already did the Derby round, so I'll have to find another one.
That's all right. What about yourself, John? Have you managed to get the connect a player, or did you
Yeah,
manage?
so I've got two options. I've found a connection, but I've also got another way we could do it where I've got a club and then there's 3 ex Hearts players who played for that club.
Oh, let's try that
So
for something a bit
I mean,
different.
it's basically the same. It's basically connections, but it's just like there's an extra player and you're guessing who the players are. It's like reverse connections.
Okay,
But you want to do that first? Or you want to do Adam's quiz?
let's do that first. Whilst Adam's thumbing away his way through the book.
Okay, so there's 3 players,
Hmm.
either past or present, who have played for Union Berlin.
Oh, jeez.
Huh, what?
Kabangu's going to be one.
This is a German team, Union Berlin.
Oh shit!
Not saying.
That's a good union.
Jamie, you're out.
Fuck.
Sorry, I'm joking.
Right.
Union Berlin. Swallow.
Well done. That's 1. 2 more. I can give you hints if you need them as well, obviously.
Okay. Well, are they all German?
No. Do you want the positions?
Go for it.
It's a centre back and a midfielder.
Centre back and midfielder. You said they're not German, or are both of them not German?
One of them's German. One of them's not.
German players that we had.
Although I will say that the German one, I'm pretty sure wasn't like he's got like dual nationality from if I remember
Okay.
right.
So it's probably a confusing one.
Yeah.
Kevin McKenna, he played in Germany.
Nah.
It's just the only guy I can think of that actually has a German connection. Wait, so what was again? Centre back and midfielder?
Yeah, centre midfielder. I feel like I could give you one clue that would give you one of them, but it'd probably be too easy. Do you want me to give you like when they played for us?
Yeah.
So the midfielder was 2011 to 2013. I don't need to check the exact date for them.
Is he the German one?
Yeah.
2011, 2013.
The centre back was
Oh,
2009
sorry,
to
he was
2011.
at us. He was at us when we won the cup. Then the centre midfielder.
Yes. That's what I'm saying. I could give you a clue, I think, for that one that you'd probably get it, but
Wait, no. Surely that's enough of a clue. He was at us when we won the Women's Cup. God's sake.
it was a few years later once he left that he played for them.
Oh, that Puchinenko guy.
Yeah, I was going to
Then
say
he was a
the
Ukrainian
free
German or
kick
something.
specialist. Yeah. Yeah, it's
Was
him.
that him?
Yeah.
Yes, 'cause I just remembered. Yeah, he
Well
had a
done.
Ukrainian name, but he had that free kick in that
Yeah.
season that went. Was that the final or the
It was
semi?
against Celtic, I
The
think, wasn't
semi.
it, in the
The
semi?
semi. Yeah. Yeah. God. Yeah. I just remembered. Yeah. That's good.
Hilarious.
What? When was the centre back at us? Sorry.
2009 to 2011.
And he wasn't German.
No. If I give you the nationality, I don't think it'd be that difficult. So
Is he? But he's European.
he was born in Europe.
2009
Again,
to
dual
2011.
nationality.
So he left before the cup win. Um.
Gonsalves.
Good
Nope.
shout. Not a good shout.
Oh.
He did have a spell at Kilmarnock after us later on in his career. Played for Union Berlin like early doors. It was his second club.
So what? I totally forgot. What did you say his nationality is for this guy? Did you say?
It's European.
Well, so He represented an African country, but he was born in Europe.
Oh wait, I think I can't think of the name, but
Eh,
I think I know. I think I know what you mean. I just can't think of the name.
That,
Bouzid.
yeah, well done. I was going to say it was
Where-
Algeria. Yeah, yeah. All three of them played for them.
Nice. That was a good one. Yeah.
That was a difficult one.
That
Well
was a
done
good
getting
one.
that midfielder, Adam. That was
Yeah, I just suddenly, because I was thinking of the cup final and the cup run, and I remembered he was around because of that free kick, and
He
I
was,
remember him having dual nationality because he represents. I don't know. I just knew somehow that he represented. Yeah. Anyway.
wasn't he
somewhere
brought
from
on
the
because he was meant to be like a free kick specialist?
Yeah, because
Or that
I remember
was like 40 yards out.
I turned like many people. I turned to someone I was with, like tons of people did around the stadium, and said, This guy's brilliant at free kicks." And I think hundreds of us did that, and then he blasted it out of the stadium.
It was good.
ready for your quiz now, Adam.
I'm gonna do something different actually, which
Mm.
might be hard, but given it's a derby, there's not that many that I think you'll get. So I want you to take it in turns and try and get guys who have played for Hearts and Hibs. Could be a short quiz.
Well,
All right,
John, you go first.
Michael Stewart.
bollocks.
Yes, our fan of the podcast, Michael Stewart. Jamie, are you out already?
No. He's on the tip of my tongue. Alan Maybury. That's the one.
Oh, good one.
Yes, good one.
Mm.
Adam
John?
Eckersley.
Yes, very good. Was he not decent at us?
Yeah, he was good in the championship.
Wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah, and did he get injured at that? Did he play much for Hibs?
I don't think he did. No,
I thought he got injured or something straight away. Anyway, that's a good one. John, you're that era. John knows every single player.
I think I've got like 4 more.
Wow, Jamie, Jamie, how many have you got?
Fucking hell. Well, at the moment, one.
Okay,
But
who have you got?
Darren Jackson.
Yes, he actually did very well for us. Helped us stay up.
Yeah.
Him and Cameron kind of did very well that season after we were struggling.
I found it mental when he joined us. I mean,
Oh, that was a strange one.
yeah,
Like John, to put it in perspective, he was like a really big player at Hibs,
yeah,
really.
and then he went to Celtic, I think.
that's right. Yeah,
He had like a brain tumor or something at one point as
that's right.
well.
Yeah,
Because he went from Hibs to Celtic and then signed for us. So it was a season after we'd won the cup, and then suddenly we were battling relegation, and then Colin Cameron came back from injury, and Darren Jackson signed, and actually did very well for us.
yeah. I mean, he used to put them away for Hibs. Like he was.
Yeah, I was quite young when he was at Hibs, but I remember him being
Mhm.
a good player for them. I don't think he wasn't a popular signing. I don't think at the time until he actually did pretty well. Right, John, I'm assuming that wasn't one of your four.
Nah, Paul Hartley.
Yeah,
Yeah, of course, the first one, the biggest one on the list.
yeah.
Shite at Hibs, brilliant at us. That's the way it should be.
Mm-hmm. Oh, might be chapping already. I'm trying to think. There's that guy, and he's completely. His name's completely evaded me, but he's mental on X or Twitter, whatever you had to call it. Do you know the
He's
guy
on
I'm
my
talking
list.
about?
He's on my list.
I'm not going to get a name, so I'll pass it over to you, John.
Dimitri Mitchell.
So
Yeah, I was gonna give you a clue. I thought you meant him when you mentioned X.
I can go. Do you want me, that could be your one. I'll go again.
Mitchell that was a strange one as well. Mitchell, I don't think he really played much for Hibs.
Nah, I
Mhm.
didn't
Injured
like him
again,
at all.
maybe. Yeah.
I don't think they actually
Anyway,
liked him at all. I saw he was on a podcast and he was saying like because someone said to him, "Well, what's your worst decision you've made?" He was like signing for Hibs, and he was like, "I remember walking out Easter Road and he was like, I was getting booed by both sets of fans."
right. Who else have you got, John?
So when I was thinking of Eckersley, I just started thinking about all the left backs because Mitchell was a
Yeah.
left back, but they also had Faisal Reiras.
Yes, that was another. A lot of their ones are really strange signings that
Yeah,
basically never played for them. That seems to be a common theme. Like, I'm pretty sure a few of the guys on this list played about once.
See, this is where I'm starting to struggle because I'm like, I think they're all the most recent ones. Those three. It's like Rare Ass, Mitchell, and Eckersley. I can't think.
You're missing another one who is more recent than Eckersley. So 20.
Really?
Let me just check the exact year. He was known as a big Hibs fan. It was
Ah,
Levine signed him. Actually, no, sorry.
Keatings.
It was maybe around the time of
James
What? Sorry.
Keatings.
No, I don't know if he was a Hibs fan. I know he got that tattoo, but
Oh,
Keating. Nah, there's someone more
oh,
recent than Keating.
Danny Swanson.
Yes, who I think was a big Hibby and was not popular, barely tried for us, and was shite at both
Yeah.
clubs.
And
But
then
yeah,
that's you may think someone else there. I just completely forgot.
there's another one you
Oh, Fraser
should get.
Mullen.
Yes, I thought you'd get him as well.
Um,
I think that's pretty much everyone that you can get based on your age.
do they have to have actually made like a first team appearance?
Nah, it's fine, whatever.
Jamie Gullen.
Yes, John's old nemesis at Buxton Primary. Jamie Gillen, yeah, he's not on my list because he was a youngster. I don't think he must have played for Hibs, but he didn't
Yeah, he did. He played a couple of games in the first team.
didn't play for us certainly. There's also apparently Scott Gallagher, but I don't know if he actually played for Hibs.
Weird.
He went to Hibs after us, but maybe it was a coach or something. There is also Aaron Scott.
Did he actually play for them?
I don't
He's
think so. That's what I
another
mean. I wasn't
Buxton
going to
one.
mention him. I don't think he really counts particularly either.
Tell you what, just off topic, but Buxton have produced some good footballers. Tell you that. Angus Beef, Aaron Scott, Jamie Gullen,
John
me.
Herbertson.
Me.
No, sorry, I tried to spoil the joke.
Well, I think only one of us has scored at Tynecastle.
If it wasn't for injuries, you'd have been
That knee
better than
injury.
them all. You'd have been better than Jamie Gowan.
Yeah, at least I scored at Tynecastle. That's all that matters.
Yeah. You also caught a ball at Hampden. That was impressive.
That was back in our goalkeeping days.
Another one, obviously you guys weren't going to get. An interesting one was Ian Black, Senior, with that Hearts and Hibs. But that was a long time ago, before any of us were born. That's basically it. I mean, a couple others, like Gordon Jury, actually, to be
Magic
honest, he played for
box,
Hibs before I was even born. But yeah, I remember Gordon Jury at Hearts at the end of his career. One that gets mentioned a lot online is like Brian Hamilton, who is also before my time, but I think he signed directly from. Wait, actually, let me just double check that. Did he sign directly from Hibs? Is that? Yeah, so Brian Hamilton signed directly from Hibs. I think he was shit, but I was only about 7 or 8 at the time. But that's kind of the main. That's all the main ones. I think obviously there's more going way back who are way before we were born. Yeah. You did well, John.
Mm-hmm.
So those random left backs.
John, anything from the last 15 years, John gets them all. Like you've got
There's so many
that's
random
like your
ones.
mastermind topic. Hearts players from the last 15 years, and I knew you were going to get Fraser Mullen. I'm certain of it.
As soon as you started like saying like when I got Keatings and I was thinking about that team, I was like, I know there's someone else.
Yeah, John. I mean, Jamie. Honestly, we've got no chance with anything from that
I
era.
know. I'm even.
John's knowledge is like Scott McIntosh on that. You know, Scott McIntosh. You can be like, "What was Hearts played Partick Thistle in 1982, 2nd of February," and he'd be like, "Oh, yep, that was a 2-0 win for Hearts."
Right,
And,
I'm calling about get him on. I want a quiz against him for recent times.
well, that's it for this week. No big deal. Just the biggest derby of recent years coming up on Tuesday. I'm sure we'll be all nice and relaxed for that one. In the meantime, why don't you join us on our socials? You'll find us on X, Blue Sky, and on Instagram as well. It's Hearts on Sleeves Podcast and all of them. You can also email us at heartsonsleevespodcast@outlook.com. Also, please do send us any questions you might have that might be featured on our podcast, anything you'd like us to cover, as well as giving us reviews, comments, likes, shares, all that sort of thing really helps us and we really appreciate it. Until then, we look forward to speaking to you next week. Cheers, folks. Bye for now.